platformers, one of the oldest and most iconic genres in gaming. From the pixel-perfect precision of the early Mario games to the wild creativity of more modern hits, 3D platformers have always held a special place in gamers' hearts. There's something timeless about jumping, dodging, and exploring vibrant worlds that keeps pulling us back. But every once in a while, a platformer comes along that not only reminds us of why we love the genre, but redefines it entirely. Today, we're talking about a game that does exactly that. It's a tribute to the golden era of 3D platformers, featuring a ton of familiar faces, but with a fresh coat of paint and some incredible modern design choices that make it stand out as one of the best ever made. This is Astro Bot, a creative, nostalgic platformer for the PlayStation 5. We play as Astro, this laser-shooting, ever-transforming robot, as he and his friends travel the galaxy in the PS5 mothership. The ship has been wrecked, leaving Astro and the bot crew scattered all over the galaxies. It's up to us to save our friends, fix our ship, and stop any foes that stand in our way in this colorful, wacky adventure. Now to some, this may just look like another run, jump, hit collectathon. But I can promise you this, it's anything but just another game. Astro is innovative, unique, creative, nostalgic, and just downright fun. When I think about my favorite classic 3D platformers, games like Crash Bandicoot, Super Mario 64, Sly Cooper, and even Jak and Daxter, what stands out is how they blended tight controls, creative worlds, and that sense of wonder every time you jumped into a new level. These games set the standard for what a great 3D platformer should be. We've seen countless attempts to capture that same magic, but only a few have truly succeeded. And that's why Astro Bot really caught me off guard. It took everything we loved about those older games and fine-tuned them for a new generation. Let's break down how Astro achieves this and why it's the top dog of modern-day classic 3D platformers. A platformer lives and dies by its gameplay, right? This is where Astro Bot really shines. It's clear that the developers understand what makes platforming fun. Tight, responsive controls and level design that encourages you to think outside the box. One of the first things I noticed when starting this game is just how great it feels to play as Astro. His movements are precise, yet his overall moveset is simple enough for gamers of all ages. He can punch, double jump, which shoots lasers from his feet, and use a charged up spin attack for continuous hits. The game encourages us to use these three moves to tackle enemies however we choose. Some can be beat with a simple punch, and others need to be approached with a different technique in mind. There's also certain interactable buttons, platforms, and events that use these moves to progress the level, as well as a variety of DualSense gestures to keep the gameplay feeling fresh and ever-changing. Speaking of DualSense, the game utilizes the PS5's cool controller to help us feel every movement we make with Astro. I'm much more of an Xbox player, so experiencing this really made me jealous because it adds so much more immersion and definitely aids to just how well the controls feel. Navigating through levels has never felt better. Now normally, level design is cohesive throughout a game, but when it comes to platformers, that unfortunate word repetitive can apply again. But the Astro team has managed to do something that's hard to accomplish in game design, make levels that truly feel unique from one another. Each galaxy is composed of standard levels, hidden levels, challenge levels, and boss battles. And somehow, they all have separate themes. One moment you're climbing a mountain on a beach, the next you're in a construction zone jumping through the cranes, and now you've landed on a world with a living volcano and somehow it has a fever. The level themes are really cool and gives us a better sense of what is possible in the world of Astro and his friends. The enemies of each world also change slightly depending on the theme. Not to mention that each level has some bitchin' music. Seriously, the music in this game is awesome and it adds an extra level of uniqueness to each world. Most of these worlds also give Astro an additional ability that takes his moves to the next level. Sometimes he gets frogs for hands. Others he can control time and fly through the air. Not only does this make each level stand out, but it also ensures that the gameplay always feels dynamic. My personal favorite is a power-up that transforms our friend into a sponge. Yeah, a sponge. One that soaks up water, can put out fires, grow plants, and make him absolutely massive, crushing everything in his way. This is what really sets Astro's worlds and gameplay apart from the rest of the pack. One could argue that Mario Odyssey did a similar thing, but with Astro, his powers don't just transform his moveset, it transforms the world around him. Once we obtain a power, we're dependent on that to clear the next set of obstacles in our way. A big potential problem with 3D platformers is that the games can be limited by what the character can do and what the goals are that the character has to accomplish in each level. Sure, Astro has to collect coins, his bots, puzzle pieces, and occasionally find a secret exit to a level, but knowing that each time we enter a world, we could potentially control Astro in a brand new way cuts back on those feelings of repetition. Not to mention, it makes each world stand out and feel memorable on its own. Level design is also aided by the added processing power of the PS5. Just like in the 90s, how Crash and Spyro gave us vibrant, memorable worlds, this game is bursting with color and character. Each level feels like a living, breathing world. Only now, with today's technology, the details can be mind-blowing. The first time I really noticed this step up was on a level early on called Creamy Canyon. The world is ice cream themed, and every element on the level has interactions of some sort. Most notably to me, the sprinkles scattered all over the ground. There's hundreds and hundreds of these things, and yet we could just punch through them all. It adds so much fun to what normally would be a mundane part of a level. Instead of waiting for the next set piece or challenge, you can go through every area you've cleared and find something fun to punch or move around and just explore what you can do with this extra power in modern hardware. The levels are also designed in a way that makes it possible to miss some of the secrets they hold. I've had to go back multiple times when searching for collectibles, which sure, sometimes can be annoying, but in Astro's case, it adds a layer to the difficulty, and boy, can it be difficult. There are special challenge levels you can unlock that, no joke, can be cleared in under 60 seconds, but sometimes took me upwards of a half hour to beat. The challenge in a game like this ensures that I don't get bored of the gameplay loop and pushes me to rethink how I would go about clearing a level. One of Astro's key features is being set in a world full of PlayStation references. The levels are comprised of PlayStation branding and hardware nods, as well as almost all their iconic characters showing up in the form of collectible bot companions. It's so fun to walk through a level knowing you're about to see a familiar face, then unlocking that character and getting to interact with them back at the mothership, or at least punching them in their face. Some of the characters have entire levels dedicated to them too, where Astro takes on their abilities to save more of our friends. The God of War level had me laughing at the fact that Astro transforms into a mini Kratos. The level is filled with references to God of War's story. Even Odin's ravens make an appearance. All of these old characters reappearing are an attractive selling point to new players, as well as longtime PlayStation friends. This game isn't just a quick nostalgia trip though. These throwbacks are well incorporated as collectibles and incentives to perfect your gameplay. Does this game live up to the legacy of the classics? Absolutely. It takes everything we loved about them, the creativity, the challenge, the pure fun, and brings it into the present with enough new ideas to keep the most seasoned 3D platformer fans on their toes. Astro Bot is a one-of-a-kind game. It's the kind of game that keeps you coming back. Much like the classics we grew up playing over and over. Whether you started with old-school gems, or you're diving into platformers for the first time, Astro Bot is a must-play and a modern-day classic in the making.